Our session today is an addition to the previous lab, which was titled Posterior Triangle, because we have only one sample to demonstrate the following structures. This sample shows you the posterior triangle. You can see that this muscle is sternocleidomastoid muscle, while that muscle is trapezius, and the posterior triangle is the region between the anterior border of the trapezius and posterior border of the sternomastoid. You can see that the apex of the posterior triangle is at the superior nuchal line. And at the apex, you may see this vessel, which is the occipital artery, one of the contents of the posterior triangle. And it is a posterior branch from the external carotid artery. Adjacent to it, this nerve is the lesser occipital nerve, which is this one. You can see that at the middle of posterior border of sternomastoid muscle, approximately here, you have the origin of 4 cutaneous nerves of the side of the neck, in which one of them from this point will ascend up as the lesser occipital. The other will pass up to the auricle, and that is the great auricular nerve. And more than that, you can see an anterior cutaneous nerve of the neck. And you don't have, in this demonstration, supraclavicular cutaneous nerve. Why we don't have the supraclavicular cutaneous nerve, the 4th cutaneous nerve that must project from the middle of posterior border of sternomastoid? Because below the middle of posterior border of sternomastoid, the manufacturer preparing the sample goes deep in that section. So from this same point, which is mid of posterior border of sternomastoid, the manufacturer demonstrates what is deeper to the supraclavicular nerve, that is this nerve, which is the spinal accessory nerve. It also originates from the middle of posterior border of sternomastoid. And therefore, the muscle deep to this spinal accessory nerve is ligatory scapula, while the muscle above ligatory scapulae is splenius capitis. And here in the small region of the apex is the semispinalis capitis. And as we say in the theory, semispinalis is sometimes inconstant finding. You can see that here splenius capitis representing a wide region. Maybe it shows 2 straps of muscles, but both of them are belonging to splenius capitis. And you have to demarcate the muscle deep to the accessory nerve of this levator scapulae muscle. More inferior to the accessory and levator scapulae muscle, you may see the inferior belly of omohyoid. The inferior belly of omohyoid divides the posterior triangle into a larger upper occipital triangle and a smaller supraclavicular triangle that are divided by the inferior belly of omohyoid. Of course, here the demonstrator manufacturing the sample damaged the spinal accessory nerve, supposedly that this nerve, the spinal accessory, must continue down to pass deep to trapezius and supplying trapezius also. But obviously it is cut from there by the manufacturing. Of course, this is the anterior patellar cell of the neck. Just above and below the inferior belly of homohyoid, here and there. These are the trunks of brachial plexus. And anterior to the trunks of brachial plexus, this is the subclavian artery. You can see that subclavian artery is covered anteriorly by this muscle. This muscle covers the subclavian artery anteriorly, and this is scalenus anterior. So, because this muscle covers part of the subclavian artery, the subclavian artery deep to this scalenus anterior is the second part, while this is the third part of subclavian artery that is lateral to scalenus anterior. And again, this is the brachial plexus. Anterior to scalenus anterior is this vein. This is the subclavian vein. It could be also divided into three parts by the scalenus anterior, which now is lying behind the subclavian vein. And you can see that this is the external jugular vein as a tributary passing to the subclavian vein. Unfortunately, we don't have more than one sample to demonstrate these structures. Right. What about this? This is the first rib, excellent. So, at the outer border of the first rib here, you can imagine that this is the first rib. At the outer border of the first rib, here the artery is called axillary artery, and the vein is called subclavian vein, axillary vein. And this is the piece of the third part of subclavian and first part of vein. Of course, the artery will be third part, the vein will be the first part. What else to be demonstrated here? If we turn the sample more anterior, you will notice that sternomastoid muscle shows two heads of origin, sternum and clavicular. So, a cannula here in between the two heads will be placed in what's called this lesser supraclavicular fossa that will pass into the lower bowl, the inferior bowl of internal jugular vein, and you can cannulate it, getting blood for sample and shock patient, or even introducing the cannula for IV fluid. Blindly, it's so easy. And what else that could be seen in this sample in an anterior view? I can see the Adam apple, the thyroid cartilage. And below the thyroid cartilage, this is the cricoid cartilage. And you will learn in the lecture of larynx that this muscle is called cricothyroid muscle. It is between the thyroid cartilage and cricoid cartilage. Of course, what is this? Hyoid bone. So, we can see that there is a muscle between the thyroid cartilage and hyoid bone. Right? Of course, this region is not a muscle, it's a membrane, which is called thyrohyoid membrane. While laterally on the sides, this is a thyrohyoid muscle. But the demonstrator colored this region in the midline red, unfortunately looking just like a muscle. You should color it white because this is in the middle, thyrohyoid membrane. But on the sides, it will be thyrohyoid muscle, one of the strap muscles. This is on that side. Below, you may have sternothyroid muscle in the position where I'm putting my pencil. But the manufacturer removed the sternothyroid muscle in order to expose the thyroid gland. Okay? So, about the thyroid cartilage, this is the in the midline, thyroid membrane. If you go laterally, this is thyroid muscle. You don't have sternothyroid muscle. This is on that side. If you go to the other side, you will find a muscle extending from the sternum to the hyoid. This is a sternohyoid muscle. And here you don't see thyrohyoid or even what is below it, which is sternothyroid, because this muscle, the sternohyoid, cover both these muscles. But below, the manufacturing of the sample shows a small piece of muscle deep to sternohyoid. This small piece is the sternothyroid muscle because sternohyoid covers sternothyroid deep to it. What else that is demonstrated in this sample? We can see the thyroid gland. The thyroid gland shows a lobe connected by an isthmus. And you can see how the upper end or pole of the lobe reaching up to the level of thyroid cartilage, while the lower pole of the lobe reaching to the fourth tracheal ring. You can count it. What else that could be seen? This is the subclavian vein, and that is the subclavian artery. You can see here that the subclavian vein continues here into a vein that descends downward. This is the brachiocephalic vein. And you can see here that the brachiocephalic vein is formed by union of subclavian vein with that small piece of the internal jugular vein. What about this? Of course, the picture is reversed. This is the right side, so this is the brachiocephalic trunk, right? And of course, this is the trachea. On the other side, this is the subclavian vein, right? And it unites with the internal jugular vein to form the brachiocephalic vein also on the other side. And this is the carotid artery. Right. Just look to the deeper structure here. Imagine that this is the common carotid artery. And you can go up to the upper border of thyroid cartilage, going laterally to see that the common carotid is bifurcating. It is divided into external and internal carotid arteries. Right? Also, you can see that the external carotid gives this artery that descend down to the thyroid gland. This is the superior thyroid gland, superior thyroid artery. Of course, when you want to ligate the superior thyroid artery, please go to ligate it near to the gland, because the beginning of the superior thyroid artery, which is below the hyoid bone, you can see that this is the hyoid bone, and below the hyoid, this is the superior thyroid artery. The beginning of superior thyroid artery, when it projects from the external carotid, is usually accompanied by the external laryngeal nerve, so you should avoid ligating it here. But the manufacturer does not show that fact. But in spite of that, the manufacturer show you that the superior thyroid artery give a branch, which is a small branch, piercing the thyroid membrane. So we can see that the manufacturer show you that a small twig originates from the superior thyroid artery. This small twig is the superior laryngeal branch of superior thyroid artery. And you can see that this superior laryngeal branch of superior thyroid artery perforates the thyroid membrane. And unfortunately, again, the manufacturer made the thyroid membrane in red. He should made it in yellow or even in white. And this superior laryngeal branch of superior thyroid artery perforating the thyroid membrane together with the internal laryngeal nerve. The internal laryngeal nerve running with the superior laryngeal artery into the thyroid membrane, and the external laryngeal nerve run with the beginning of superior thyroid artery. Both these internal and external laryngeal nerves are branches of superior laryngeal nerve, which is a branch of vagus nerve inside the carotid sheath. But all of these are not demonstrated. If I was a student just like you, and I will have a spot on this nerve, let me know, let us learn what is this nerve by exclusion. What is that? This is the subclavian vein, and that is the subclavian artery. And the muscle, this muscle, between the subclavian vein and subclavian artery is scalenus anterior, right? There is no way of running directly on scalenus anterior except phrenic nerve. This is the phrenic nerve. But maybe someone will see that this is the common carotid and this is the nerve adjacent to it, and he will say this is the vagus nerve. No, this is the phrenic nerve. It is a branch from the cervical plexus. It is the most important branch in the cervical plexus because it is the nerve supply to the diaphragm. What else that could be demonstrated here? You can see here is the thyrocervical trunk. It gives a branch that arch medially going to the thyroid gland. And if you ligate this branch, which is called inferior thyroid artery, please ligate it here on scalenus anterior. Because when it is arching to become nearer to the thyroid gland, it will be in the groove between the trachea and the esophagus, adjacent to the nerve running in this groove, which is recurrent laryngeal nerve. Of course, this artery is called thyrocervical trunk. It gives inferior thyroid, suprascapular, transverse cervical. This one, which is transverse cervical, while this one going back upward is the suprascapular. Again, this is the trunk of brachial plexus. So, this is a muscle anterior to the subclavian artery, and we call it scalenus anterior. And this is scalenus subclavian artery. What is this muscle? This is scalenus anterior. This is scalenus medius. And behind, or deep and below scalenus medius, this is scalenus posterior. Right? Anybody know what is this? No? Okay, what is this? First rib. And this is a muscle attached to the rib. Serratus anterior. We said that some experts consider that the first rib is part of the floor of the posterior triangle. And also other textbooks consider the first digitation of serratus anterior in it. Okay? Of course here, trapezius is removed. Right? This is trapezius on the other side. But here, this is the cut of the trapezius. And if you go to the lecture of the back of the neck, below trapezius, this is splenius capitis, right? This is splenius capitis. I think these are the most structures that are demonstrated in this sample in this region. What else that could be demarcated here is in regard to division of the anterior triangle. For example, this is sternomastoid. This is superior belly of omohyoid, while that is posterior belly of digastric muscle. And what is between omohyoid, superior belly, sternomastoid, anterior border, posterior belly of digastric is the carotid triangle. Right? Showing the hyoid mole, the thyrohyoid membrane perforated by the internal laryngeal branch of superior laryngeal artery. It shows you above the superior thyroid artery the facial artery. It also shows you part of the constrictor muscle of the pharynx. While here between the omohyoid superior belly and the midline and the sternomastoid, this is the muscular triangle showing sternohyoid and part of sternothyroid. Deep to sternohyoid, if we remove it, you will find sternothyroid. So now we can see the carotid triangle and muscular triangle. Going up, you may see the submandibular salivary gland, form the digastric triangle. This triangle is bounded anteriorly by the anterior bullet of digastric, posteriorly by posterior bullet of digastric. And we may say with posterior bullet of digastric stylohyoid, although embryologists consider posterior bullet of digastric stylohyoid as part of posterior bullet of digastric. And the base of the digastric triangle is the lower border of the mandible. And you can see that submandibular salivary gland filling the digastric triangle. That's why sometimes called submandibular triangle. And you can see the facial artery projecting deep, from deep aspect of the, this is it, this is the facial artery going deep to the submandibular salivary gland and projecting here into the face at the lower border of the mandible. So carotid triangle, muscular triangle, and digastric triangle. And here you have submental triangle. This is mylohyoid muscle. This is anterior bullet of digastric, and that is anterior bullet of digastric, and this is mylohyoid muscle. So the sun will also show you the subdivisions of the anterior triangle. What is this gland? Parotid. Right? It fills the region here. I think we have something nice here to be demonstrated. This is the hyoid bone. It shows the lesser horn and the greater horn. So this is the body of hyoid, lesser horn and the greater horn. What is this? This is hyglossus muscle. Hyglossus muscle. And that is the facial artery demonstrated when you the manufacturing remove the submandibular gland. Here, the submandibular gland on that side is removed to show the facial artery running on hyglossus muscle. Don't be worried, all these structures will be repeated to you on Sunday. Okay? Thank you very much.